Hi, it's Nicole. I'm taking part in Shakespeare this month, and Shakespeare is a month-long readathon reading Shakespeare's plays. And the first one we're reading is All's Well That Ends Well. All's Well That Ends Well is a comedy, but it's mostly not funny. It's a comedy as in it has a happy ending, and the story is actually quite heavy, and the main characters do not often make you laugh. In the first paragraph of the introduction of this RSC edition, Jonathan Bate writes, All's Well That Ends Well is one of Shakespeare's least performed and least loved comedies, and I can certainly see why. Overall, this is not my favorite, and my reason is the characters are not particularly likable people, but he also says it is also one of his most fascinating and intriguingly modern works, and I certainly agree with that too. A physician's daughter, Helen, falls in love with her master, Bertram. She manages to marry him by a bargain with the king, so Bertram can't refuse to marry her, but he refuses to sleep with her, saying, "When thou canst get the ring upon my finger, which never shall come off, and show me a child begotten of thy body that I am father to, then call me husband." And he runs off to a war zone. Helen goes after him, completes the challenges, and wins his love at the end. Immediately you might be thinking, this is not very nice. It's not very nice of Helen to force Bertram to marry her. It's not very nice of Bertram to just run off like that. And it's also not very becoming or dignified for a woman to run after a man like that. I know, it hurts my head to figure out who's to blame for what and who I feel sorry for. We will tease it out a little bit in this video, and I'm going to spend most of this video thinking about Helen. Helen is the key character of the show. According to the key facts in this edition, Helen speaks 16% of the lines, and Bertram only speaks 9%, which is less than Paroli, less than the king, less than the countess. And the story is set in motion by Helen's desire for Bertram and her request to the king, and it's driven on by her solo travel and her mission to complete the challenges, and it ends with her success in the mission and her conquest of Bertram. She sounds wonderful if you hear people's opinion of her, especially of the older generation. The king thinks her young, fair, wise and virtuous, and he is willing to bestow her honor and wealth to match Bertram. And the countess, she is Bertram's mother, right? When she hears how her son has run off like that, she says, "I do wash his name out of my blood, and thou art all my child." Meaning, I disown Bertram, you, Helen, are my only child now. She deserves a lord that 20 such rude boys might tend upon. Meaning, Helen deserves someone better than my son, way better. When Helen runs away too, the countess worries about her safety and says, "Which of them both is dearest to me?" As in Bertram or Helen, which of them both is dearest to me? I have no skill in sense to make distinction. I don't remember a fictional mother-in-law loves her daughter-in-law so much. Both the countess and the king value extremely highly of her. So we've seen that Helen has the old king and the old countess to vouch for her good character, and next we're going to see she is extremely capable, decisive and independent. She manages to be presented to the king. She makes the bargain that if she doesn't heal the king, she is willing to die. But if she does heal the king will grant her a husband of her choice. And obviously, she heals the king and chooses Bertram. When Bertram runs away, Helen goes after him alone to a war zone. It's incredible if you think a woman does that now in 2022 with the help of airplanes and mobile phones. It must have sounded unbelievable to an Elizabethan audience, but off she goes, she gets there, befriends a mother and a daughter, convinces them she is the wife of Bertram. enlists their help with friendship and money and tricks Bertram off his ring and manages to have sex with him while fooling him into thinking that he is having sex with another woman. You have to own that she's extremely capable, intelligent, and independent. She hatches a plan, she executes it, all in her control. But do you like her so far? I find an inconsistency in her that's very unsettling. Looking at her from one angle, she is a vulnerable young woman who has no protection in the world. She is good and obedient in the eyes of her mother-in-law and the king. She is an angel who can do no wrong. Moreover, she is terribly treated. She's terribly mistreated by her husband, and she's probably heartbroken. I should feel sorry for her. But looking at her actions, she's far from weak or inactive. I don't need to feel sorry for her. She's mentally and physically robust and strong. She's task-oriented. She's single-minded in chasing what she wants, to the point of stubbornness and tunnel vision. One thing I notice is that who she is to other people and who she is to herself are not the same. Right at the beginning in Act 1, Scene 1, everybody thinks she's constantly crying because her father passed away just a few months ago. But when we hear from her own mouth, she says, "I think not on my father, and these great tears grace his remembrance more than those I shed for him. What was he like? I have forgot him. My imagination carries no favour in it but Bertram's." She says the floods of tears she is shedding because of her unrequited love for Bertram do more honour to her father's memory than did the fewer tears wept at his death. What rubbish. She's not crying for her father at all. She's completely forgot about him. She's crying for Bertram. I think I dislike her and distrust her right from that point on. Another example of this inconsistency, when she runs after Bertram, she tells the good old countess that he is too good and fair for death and me, whom I myself embrace to set him free, meaning I'm going to sacrificially get myself killed so he's not bound by this marriage anymore. But next thing you know, far from being dead and release him, she is ever actively plotting to get his ring and to sneak into his bed, thus secure the marriage even more. But one thing I dislike her even more, her desire for Bertram, her hunger for Bertram. I will have this man in my house, in my bed, no matter the cost, no matter how far I have to go, no matter who I have to make use of, be it the king or a poor widow's daughter, whether he likes it or not, I will have him. She is completely obsessed. In the introduction, Jonathan Bate quotes two opinions. One person thinks Helen exemplified the virtue of patience in the face of adversity and male infidelity. There never was, perhaps, a more beautiful picture of a woman's love, cherished in secret, not self-consuming in silent languishment, but patient and hopeful, strong in its own intensity and sustained by its own fond faith. The other thinks Helen as belonging to the doormat type. They bear any amount of humiliation from the men they love, seem almost to enjoy being maltreated and scorned by them, and hunt them down in the most undignified way when they are trying to escape. I have to say I agree with the second opinion more. Two things specifically. One, the way she kisses the ground he walks on in utter adoration and humiliation is repulsive. In her desire and fantasy about the man, she loses self-respect. A few examples. She keeps emphasizing her inferiority and seems to take pleasure in emphasizing the distance between them. 2001 that I should love a bright particular star and think to wed it. He is so above me. Helen is socially inferior to Bertram. In her eyes, to dream of marrying him, she might as well dream of marrying a giant burning gas ball. When Paroli delivers the message that Bertram is going away straight after the wedding, she says, "In everything I wait upon his will." When Bertram fails to avoid her and has to repeat the message. She says, "Sir, I can nothing say but that I am your most obedient servant." Bertram replies, "Come, come, no more of that," meaning, "Stop reminding us about your lowly birth, it's not necessary." But she keeps on going, "And ever shall, with true observance, seek to eke out that wherein toward me my homely stars have failed to equal my great fortune." Meaning, my humble origins make me unworthy to be your wife, but I will do my best to make it up by a mountain of dutiful service to you. Bertram replies again, "Let that go." And she again says, "I am not worthy of the wealth I owe. Not dare I say 'tis mine, and yet it is." Why does she keep saying it? What is she thinking when she says it? Is she sad because her husband doesn't love her and runs away from her? Is she resentful? Does she suffer from low self-esteem, genuinely feel she's lowly and unworthy like a worm in the dust and he can treat her however he likes? Or does she wear her humiliation and inferiority as a victorious badge? "You are so above me, yes, but you are now in the palm of my hand." Especially the last sentence, "I am not worthy of the wealth I owe. Not dare I say 'tis mine, and yet it is." Is she having a triumphant evil laugh inside when she said, "Yet it is"? The last example, right at the very end, Helen appears with the proofs that she has completed the challenges, standing there with her lute, the ring from Bertram's finger, and a bulging belly, saying, "Will you be mine? Now you are doubly won." She is begging him to love her. I just hate seeing a woman begging for love. Instead of the inferior family background, it is actually love that makes Helen lowly. "How can I make you love me? Whatever you ask, just say it, I will do it." I feel really sorry for this young woman losing her self-respect in pursuit of so-called love. But at the same time, the way she entraps him against his will does not make me feel sympathy or warmth towards her in her desperation to take hold, to take ownership of this man. Her manipulation is shocking, especially when you remember how others praise her for her womanly virtue. Manipulative is not a virtue. The contradiction in her character and the inconsistency in her image continue to trouble me. At the end of the play, both Bertram and the king ask her to explain how she completed the tasks, at which point the play ends and we don't see their reaction. But if they hear Helen from point to point explain how she basically has tricked Bertram ruthlessly, will they be shocked? Will they change their good opinion of her? Will she still be an angel? Bertram says, "If she can make me know this clearly," as in if she can explain how she did it clearly, "I will love her dearly, ever, ever dearly." Will he actually love her when he hears the truth? How he was hunted and trapped like an animal? If Helen has proved her true worth to Bertram in better ways, I might have cheered her on a bit more, because if we trust the judgment of the king, of the countess, she is a lowly but worthy and a good woman, and we've seen how capable she is. But she decided to win Bertram's love on his terms, using some really shady methods. In Orlando by Virginia Woolf, there's a small sentence: "The deception roused her scorn, the truth roused her pity." That sums up how I feel about Helen. Her deception roused my scorn, and the truth roused my pity. I do not approve a lot of the things she does throughout the play, but I do feel sorry for her. Before she says, "Will you be mine?" she says, "Oh my good Lord, when I was like this maid, I found you wondrous kind." She only tastes Bertram's love when she's disguised as Diana. Bertram only loves her when he thinks she's someone else. That's tragic. I feel sorry for her knowing she does what she does because she can't help it, she misjudged Bertram, and more devastatingly, she misjudged herself. Helen is so virtuous, capable, and talented, but she focuses all her energy on the wrong thing. She creates this perfect image of Bertram in fantasy, which nearly ruins both of them. Shakespeare kindly gives them a happy ending, but what will their marriage be like after the curtain falls? I am not optimistic. Food for thought at the end. Imagine if you reversed the gender roles, how would the story play out and how would it affect your response to characters? I find it a fascinating thought experiment. Leave me a comment. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next one.